Hi everyone. Um, I am posting this on April Fool's Day, so this is actually recording from Sunday at around 10 o'clock at night. And this week I'm going to review The Room.
Oh, look at you, huh? You review my movie, The Room. Don't do that. That is bullshit. I don't like it. You're breaking me apart. How is your sex cake? You know what, huh? I don't actually give a. You can talk about movie all you want. I am totally done with The Room. I make movie over 15 years ago. I don't give a if you review it. Honestly, I'm in movie. They make movie about me with James Franco, huh? That is awesome. I am better than you. You can talk about my movie all you want, but it don't change the fact that I am movie star now, huh? So you can suck my all the way to France, huh? Anyway, huh? So have fun with your stupid comedy boy review. I'm going to go score with some hot babes, huh? How do you, how you, Seth Rogen, how you turn this thing off?
Anyway, let's talk about the movie, shall we? So the movie is the passion project of one Thomas Pierre Wiseau, who directed it, wrote it, produced it, and starred in the movie. Oh man. So yeah, based on what I just read, that would make you think he must be a very talented person. Yeah, I'm sure he thought he knew what he was doing, but when you watch the movie, it's very painfully obvious that the movie is being under the creative control of someone who pretty much has no idea what the hell they're doing. And there are a lot of the one thing about The Room is that it's so bad that you don't need to be a film buff to watch the movie and not notice what some of the problems are. It's very obvious. I mean, there are narrative plot points that are often brought up and then abandoned almost immediately after they're introduced. There are a lot of emotional reactions to things that most people would not be able to just shrug off and walk away from. The acting ranges from bland to over the top and weird. And there's a bunch of other problems that I'm not sure I'd be able to get to, but I'm going to try and keep this to my usual 10-15 minute review. So this might be a long video, especially with the fact that I can get interrupted now by Tommy Wiseau. So who knows what other. Well, actually, no, I don't think he's going to interrupt me anymore. So anyway, here we go. So when I was talking about with the story threads that get brought up and then abandoned. And just so you know, there are going to be spoilers to this movie because it's the only way I can really explain why this movie is incompetently made. Um, so the one thing I will say with the narrative flaw is that we do have scenes where there's one scene where a character we find out that this character that one of Tommy's friends, this 18-year-old kid named Denny, has been taking drugs from this gangster. And it's brought up right out of the blue. Somehow this gangster manages to sneak into this apartment and find Denny and confront him about the missing drugs and the missing drug money. And it's like, how did this guy get there? How long has Denny been doing drugs? And after Tommy and his best friend Greg, played by his best friend Mark, played by Greg Sestero, disarm the guy and incapacitate him. There's no mention of this gangster at all. And there's another scene where Lisa's mother, and Lisa being Tommy Wiseau's fiance in the movie, which is a whole other thing. Why would a pretty blonde woman be with this ugly hobgoblin guy named Tommy Wiseau? Just look up a picture of the guy, and you'll say, who the hell would go out with him? Anyway, so yeah, so there's a scene where Lisa's mom confesses she has breast cancer, and Lisa is just like, "You'll be fine. Forget it." Okay, I know people have been able to get by breast cancer, but people can die from that disease. That's not really something you should dismiss necessarily. And if you hear talking in the background, that's because my folks are upstairs watching something on TV. So if you hear random faint voices in the background, this isn't some weird trickery or there aren't any ghosts in my house. At least I don't think there are. Anyway, but so yeah, if you hear any random talking in the background, that's just mom and dad upstairs watching. I think they're watching Legally Blonde. But anyway, back to the review. Sorry. So there are a few moments like that. And as I mentioned with the acting, there actually are two good actors in the movie. The actress playing Lisa's mother, Carolyn Minogue, she is hands down the most competent actress on set in this, because you can tell she's been in a lot of movies, and even though she's given a lot of lousy dialogue and pretty redundant scenes to act in, she's actually doing the best job with the material than anyone else in the room. The guy playing the gangster's name is Chris R, but the actor I think is Dan Janigan or something. He's doing a great job. He's actually taking this role very seriously. But then again, Tommy was kind of jerking his leash around behind the scenes, so that's kind of what gave him the angry performance. So yeah, so there are two good performances in the room, but sadly aren't going anywhere. The main three, Tommy Wiseau, Greg Sestero, and Juliette Danielle, who plays Johnny, Mark, and Lisa. Yeah, they're really awful, and a lot of it is because of the stupid writing and the fact that these actors really have not. Tommy Wiseau is an egomaniac. He thinks he knows what he's doing, but he really knows. He only knows two things about filmmaking: Jack and shit. And Jack left town right before production began. So yeah, Tommy's acting ranges from bland, emotionless to weird and goofy. And Tommy was known to stay up until like 4 a.m. and then get up at like noon or 4 to go to the set. So yeah, he always has this look like he's drunk or high. He looks like this half asleep zombie who's just saying his lines and sort of trying to act, but then looking really pathetic and sad at the same time. I mean, it is really funny to watch this moron think he can actually do a good performance, but it's just for all of us to enjoy. And Greg Sestero, along with many people on the cast and crew, felt like this movie was never going to be seen. It was just going to be something that goes straight to DVD and no one cares. And yeah, it does kind of show. After people realized that Tommy was unreasonable and you couldn't really negotiate with him, people just kind of stopped caring and just did whatever they could to get the job done just to get out of it. And Greg does have his own take on this whole experience of making The Room, which was in the book The Disaster Artist, which, yes, I reviewed the movie on here around the time I saw the film when it came out, and I am going to review the book and do a little compare and contrast at some point. But yeah, so the movie is kind of a beloved disaster piece. It's really hard for me to talk about this movie now in 2019 because almost every other mistake, aside from the ones I just mentioned, have been talked about to no end for anyone who's seen the movie. So it's really hard for me to do this review without coming off as really redundant. But I think what I will say is that it is very interesting to watch just to see how poorly made it is. And it's also really funny that Tommy Wiseau has gone on record saying that this film was always meant to be a dark comedy. But I think for anyone who's seen The Room, I think you get the sense that he's really just saying that to make himself come off as, more intelligent than he actually is. And one of the more interesting things about The Room is Tommy Wiseau himself. We don't know how old he is. We don't know how he got all this money. We don't know where he came from. He's so secretive about his life that basic information about where did you grow up, when is your birthday, stuff like that is just not even public knowledge. Even Greg, his best friend, doesn't know any of this. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So I will say this about The Room. The cinematography is pretty good, but that's pretty much because Tommy was not behind the camera. So anything good that happened in this movie is either freak luck or Tommy not having a hand in it. But it is one of those movies that you really need to see it to believe it. It's a great, terrible movie to watch. And that's pretty much all I can say without droning on and on too long. And the movie The Disaster Artist, which is about the making of The Room, that's a great movie. The book is even better. So there's a lot of a weird mystique about this man and the movie. And a lot of the mystique about Wiseau, I don't think will be completely revealed. But until that day comes, we still have this awesomely horrible movie to watch. So next week, I hope to be reviewing Shazam. And I'll see you guys then. And also, my guitar cover I hope to do it on Tuesday. But worst case scenario, I'll probably do my Springsteen cover on Wednesday. But